Hello, students. Welcome to whatever day it is you're watching this, or night. Perhaps it is the nighttime. Today or tonight, whenever you're watching it, we are looking at the people of the Stone Age. And they might look like this. These two people sitting there near a cave. There's a nice fire. So we have a people of the Stone Age. And your first question is you're thinking, what is the Stone Age? And if that question is something you're thinking, good job. Great question. The Stone Age lasts for a very long time. About 3.4 million years ago it started, and it ends about 6,000 years ago. And the Stone Age kind of refers, so it doesn't kind of, it does refer to the use of stone tools. And it comes to an end when humans start using metal tools. So we'll soon get to the Iron Age. But Stone Age really shows this use of stone tools. Also, they use bone tools. So we're going to look at the people, really what they were doing at this time. And one of the biggest things that humans or hominid species were doing is finding food. Food is important to find, so that is number one. So finding food without becoming food. So not only did humans want to find food, but also surviving is fairly important. So when we are sitting there being hungry, the task is to eat. And what the Stone Age people started to do was they started working together. Humans started working together in bands. And bands are groups of people, and they united to collect food. They united to collect roots and nuts and fruits and seeds, and they also hunted together. So the people of the Stone Age were hunters and gatherers, which means to find food, they were hunting or gathering. So just picking up maybe apples off of a tree or digging up some carrots from the ground. So these bands helped people survive because everyone had a different job to do. And they could help each other and find more food when you're working together. So that idea of teamwork. So with the bands, you're finding a lot of animals. You're able to hunt them. You can use your stone tools to hunt. And for the animals that are being killed, you could use them, yes, for food for eating. You can also use those animals for tools, taking the bones and creating tools out of them. And the hides, the animal skin, you can use for clothing. So these bands were working together to hunt animals, to collect food, and they used all the parts of the food that they found. And it really helped meet their basic needs. So food, shelter, and clothing were found by these bands of people. And often these bands would live in camps. So in the camps, often you'd set them up in a cave or maybe under a cliff face where the rain would be kept away. So some sort of rock shelter. They also started to make some more maybe wooden shelters, like a little hut. But easiest to do is to find a cave. You don't have to build anything, you can just go inside of it and it's nice and warm. So these camps were set up to for a gathering place where you'd come back to. However, camps sometimes you had to move. And one of the biggest reasons that humans had to move was because food ran out. You weren't able to find any more. The animals were all gone. You dug up or picked all the food that you were around. So it resulted in migration. So a lot of these camps were abandoned, and sometimes you'd return to it in a different time of season. But when food runs out, you have to move, and what starts migrations. And migrations weren't just we're going to move down the street. There weren't streets, but if there were, perhaps we could move down it. Migrations happened to the entire planet. So we found those fossils of Lucy and those footprints in Ethiopia, but humans start spreading out through the rest of the planet. And some reasons for migrations. The food is probably the biggest one. Sometimes the bands of people are growing too big. If you have too many mouths to feed, or it's getting maybe some conflict within the people, as tends to happen with humans, we start fighting and there's too many of us, so we're going to break up. So sometimes the bands broke up because there was too many people. The climate. If the climate started changing, suddenly the animals were leaving because it was too dry. They didn't have water. Humans also need water. Water is nice. We like to drink it. I drink it every day. Well, I drink tea. Tea's better. But we drink water. So if the climate starts changing, then humans move as well. And if animals are migrating, then we follow toward the animals go for hunting reasons. So there's all sorts of different reasons humans start migrating. But sometimes we can't migrate because of physical barriers. If I wanted to migrate over the canal and there wasn't a bridge, well, I'd have to swim. And if I couldn't swim, then I'm not leaving Cape Cod. And the Ice Age really helps humans in their migration, strangely enough. Like ice, but ice is cold. Why would I want to migrate? Well, the Ice Age really does help. And it happens 35,000 years ago. And with the Ice Age, a third of the planet was covered in ice. So instead of just having large sheets of ice in the North and South Pole, 1/3 of the entire planet was covered in ice. And what ice means is, yes, it's cold. Yes, humans need to start killing lots of animals so they can get warm. But it also means that it's lowering the ocean levels, so there's less water in the sea. And that creates land bridges. So land that had been previously covered by water is now exposed and humans can walk. So that Cape Cod Canal, which I didn't want to swim across, if the ocean level's lower, then I can start walking. So that's how humans start migrating to different areas out of Africa. And it also makes for a great movie with the title Ice Age. And as humans start leaving and moving to new places, these bands, they really start getting smarter and figuring out how to live more effectively. And the big term for this is division of labor. It's when different people have different jobs. So we have hunters. They just hunt. We have gatherers. They just gather. Perhaps we have builders. They're just building houses for us. We have people that are raising children. They're just raising children. There's people that are making pottery. So we have all these different jobs that people start having. You start to specialize in an area. So you become skilled. You become skilled and your talents are recognized, and that's what you do. So this division of labor starts to happen as the Stone Age works, because people are saying, you have this skill, work on it. And it helps humans advance in their societies and really start having better things. If you have someone that's only making pots, their pots are going to be great. You can put lots of things in that. You have people making houses, that house is going to be awesome. It's not going to leak. So we have the specialization and division of labor. What have we learned? So, what have we learned? That's a good question. We're going to be talking a bit more about it tomorrow. Or, unless you are watching this on Monday, we are going to talk about it more on Wednesday.